Help support our coverage using Blueberry, the community that gives creators the ability to make money, get detailed audience measurements, and host their audio and video. Get 30 days to try out the service using promo code Blueberry004. That's BLUBRRY004.
But I do see we have our next guest here. Hello.
How are you? My name is Jerry Womack. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Tell me a little bit about CarePredict.
Oh, yeah, I'm happy to. First, can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. CarePredict is a digital health company, and we've developed a wearable device called a Tempo, which is a wearable device specifically designed for seniors. And what it does that's quite unique is that it's actually measuring their activities and behavior patterns, specifically based on their signature eating patterns, bathing patterns, based on the changes in kinematics of their wrist.
Wow.
So, for instance, when they go into the dining room in their home or in a senior living community, we install these products across all of senior living, so independent living, assisted living, memory care, and then now also in the home setting. But when we install these, we install beacons that give us the context and the location. So this is fundamentally different than most wearables or even conventional wearables on the market, which are looking for really gross motion, maybe a step count, subtle change in that acceleration.
Sure.
We're looking at the individual is in a particular room, which we know based on our beacon, our context beacon. And then once we know they're in, say, the dining room and they bring food from table to mouth, it picks up their unique eating gesture.
What?
Yeah. So then we know exact durations, whether they're skipping meals, and so that is really the key to the technology, is built on that foundational fact that changes in activity patterns actually precede a health decline. And actually those changes are much earlier than you would see a change in a vital sign or a physiological measurement, right? I went through a period of depression, and during that depression, I had abrupt changes in my physical activity levels. I had sleep inversion, where I wasn't sleeping that much at night and I was sleeping more during the day.
Okay.
I was skipping meals and then eating more meals than I should have at night. I wasn't socializing as frequently as I used to during my baseline, and I was avoiding bright lights, so avoiding outdoor ultraviolet light, and then indoors keeping it dark. And our wearable picks up all of those changes autonomously. So that's really the key to our system, is really collecting those unique specific data sets that have context and location, and then feeding our deep learning engine to really make predictions on when a senior is at risk for a fall, depression, malnutrition, or even a urinary tract infection.
Wow, that is wild.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so
very exciting. We've been around since 2013.
Okay.
And we love CES. I wish I was there in person right now. It's our favorite, one of our favorite. Well, it's my favorite show, but
mine too.
Yeah, and so, but I think we'll get there. We'll get back to the in person, hopefully next year.
Yeah, that's our hopes as well. So, okay, I think you've been on the TPN show before, because the name sounds familiar. The CarePredict sounds familiar, but I don't think we have talked. So I'm going to go into detail here. So beacons sounds like there's multiple parts to this system. The beacons are things that go into particular rooms that allow you to like ping and know where you are, Bluetooth LE or something like that.
Yeah. So we built, the system consists of the wearable device, and the wearable, I'll take this off just so you can kind of see it more. The wearable has a host of different optical sensing technologies. So optical sensing for heart rate, has pulse oximetry to measure blood oxygenation levels, temperature, humidity, ultraviolet, ambient light, temperature. and then the accelerometer to measure really subtle changes in kinematics in my wrist,
Okay.
and then, connect those to unique gestures by myself. This is one piece of the system, the wearable. And then the other piece is the context beacons. And the context beacons actually are just pinging, and the wearables can ping those context beacons so we know what room they're in. We primarily use Bluetooth and active RFID, passive RFID, and Wi-Fi. So in a senior living setting, for instance, we actually use this. The seniors call this wearable device the magic bracelet, because it actually serves a variety of purposes for them. In the senior living setting, if they want, for instance, to change a television channel, they can just press the button, and it's a concierge button, and they can say, good evening, can someone please come change the channel for me? So then they have the staff can come and change the channel. If it's an emergency and they actually fall, the wearable picks that up and sends a message to the staff that, in fact, Susie has fallen. She is in the bathroom. So we know the exact location, and they can go and get her help as quickly as possible. The wearable also has, since it has RFID, we make most of the communities that we install in electronic doors. So this serves as their digital key. So they don't use a physical key. They swipe this on their suite, and it's like they're at Disney World. And you get your new key, your new magic band there at Disney World.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So multi-purpose device. So it's not like it's not like you feel like you're being tracked, right? It's not a device that just feels like it's not adding to your day.
That's an excellent point, right? Because there needs to be enough value there for the user.
Right.
And so the value when they have this device is, if there is an emergency, it can automatically trigger a call for help. For instance, if they fall and they can't call for help. If they want to communicate, they can talk two-way voice right from the wearable device to another person in their care circle.
That's my favorite.
In the home setting. Yeah. And so, and so we built off that. What we have launched this year with this new feature is CareVoice. And the idea is you can have a loved one's voice on their wrist. And it's a pretty simple idea, but pretty powerful, especially during this period now where, there's so much isolation.
Yeah.
And the social isolation has led to so much depression. And we've seen this both inside and outside, seniors living in their own homes and seniors living in group living. And what CareVoice allows you to do is to give that senior reminders and help nudge them to make healthy, positive changes in their behaviors, and use the loved one's voice. So this could be the grandson or the granddaughter saying, I love you, Grandma. I can't wait to see you tonight at the party. Or, you can have the mother say, remember, Mom, take your medicine, at lunchtime. So it has these reminders now with the loved one's voice, which can really, really drive, them to make those changes, and it makes them feel like they're actually there with them.
That's fantastic. And, the social isolation thing, I mean, even at CES on our tower, we're feeling it because we've got social distancing on our in-person show.
Yeah.
We're seeing and feeling this isolation thing in all aspects of our lives right now.
Yeah. Yeah. We saw this in senior living in particular.
Yeah.
A lot of our customers, we're growing, and we've been growing pretty fast over the last couple of years. And what we found during this pandemic is that when it first began, and, I guess it's now almost 2 years ago. Is that right?
Yeah. We literally started talking about it like 2 weeks after CES 2020.
Yeah.
Because there was a guy who found out he had it at CES 2020, a member of the media.
yeah, just mind blowing. I mean, just how, almost 2 years now, 2 years. So when we first heard of that, our really smart people at CarePredict, not me, but the really smart people, they had an idea that they recognized pretty early on that, this SARS-CoV-2, this virus could be particularly damaging and spread quickly in confined areas in congregate living and, senior living in particular. So our team basically developed almost like a 2 or 3 week turnaround, an entire digital contact tracing software platform.
Wow.
And this platform, since everyone has a wearable device in senior living, allowed us to do at the click of a button. If you found out that, Billy Bob was tested positive for SARS-CoV-2, he has COVID, you could go into our software called Pinpoint and basically select that individual and say who was in contact with him over the past 1 week or 2 weeks. And boom, within seconds now, you would know all the individuals that came in contact with him and that you would test them and then isolate or quarantine those individuals within seconds, all digitized, everything saved, right?
Impressive.
So you know exactly what to do, which was huge. What we found during that period is right at the beginning of the pandemic, in the erring on the side of safety, they just shut everything down internally. They didn't really allow seniors to leave their rooms.
Yeah.
They were not socializing and having gatherings to eat anymore. Food was brought to their room. Family members, outsiders, no one was getting in, which makes sense because we didn't really know much about this virus.
Right.
But the problem is that led to incredible amounts of social isolation.
Sure.
And the depression levels were skyrocketing. People weren't exercising. They weren't taking care of themselves. They were scared. They were on high levels of, stress. Wasn't good. And so we saw the impact of this. So these tools really were developed in response to what we were observing and trying to make it easier for these seniors to live happy and healthy inside of senior living and also in their own homes. And since they were physically isolated, now we could connect them. Even if we're physically apart, we still can have your voice on their wrist.
Yeah, that's a really great addition. Now, if people want to find out more about your product, which they certainly are going to want to, how can they do that?
Please go to CarePredict.com. And in fact, you could also email me if you want to provide that in the notes. I'd be happy to connect with them after the show.
Fantastic. Well, I really do appreciate you coming on. I know a second weird CES in a row.
Yeah.
For so many of us. I don't like being so comfortable doing CES from this studio. That I want the chaos of being back on the tower next year.
Yeah, I hear you. No, we'll have to do it for sure. We definitely missed the show, and we'll be there for sure next year. But thank you for the opportunity to speak with you and join you on this podcast for CES 2022.
Absolutely. I appreciate you taking the time, and we will see you CES 2023.
Thank you so much. Have a great one. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
TPN CES 2022 coverage is executive produced by Michelle Mendez. Technical directors are Kurt Corliss and Adam Barker. Associate producers are Nancy Ertz and Maurice McCoy. Interviews are edited by Joe Minnie. Hosts are Marlo Anderson, Todd Cochran, Scott Ertz, Christopher Jordan, Danielle Mendez, and Alante Sparks. Las Vegas studio provided by HC Productions. Remote studio provided by PLUGHITZ Productions. This has been a Tech Podcast Network production. Copyright 2022.